I'm sitting here with Makayla Anders. She is our head house mom here at Alabaster House. She was one of the first residents we had here at Alabaster House. What was it like when you came to Alabaster House? Were you court ordered? Did you come on your own? How was that?
I was court ordered to the Alabaster House. When I got there, I can't say that I wanted to be there, but there was a lot of love in the house, and all of the girls seemed like they had it together. I don't know, they had Jesus, but to me it was like something I didn't know, but I wanted what they had.
So what was life like for you before Alabaster House? Growing up and then maybe into your addiction?
I came from a very broken childhood. I was taken away from my parents. They were on drugs. At a real young age, my grandma raised me until I was 17. And at 17, I was drinking and smoking weed. And then she kicked me out. And it got a little bit worse. I started smoking legal marijuana. And then I got pregnant. And then I got pregnant again and lost my 2 kids. And then I got on meth.
By losing your kids, you mean they didn't pass away?
No, they got taken by DSS.
Okay.
And my aunt and uncle got them.
Okay, so then what happened after that, you said?
I got on the meth and I was on it for 6 years, had another kid. In that time span, my house got ran in on and they took him. And then I went like on a real downward spiral and caught 13 charges in a 6-month span. And I almost went to prison for 4 years, but I didn't, and they court ordered me to the Alabaster House.
Yeah, well, that's great. We're going to come back to you. This is Meredith. Meredith came to the Alabaster. We actually met at Foundation House in 2016.
Yes.
You had, at that point, had already been to but 5 rehabs, maybe 6.
6.
And then you still didn't get it. You went back out and then come to Alabaster what year?
2020.
2020. And you came from where? Where you at when you called me?
Jail, Greenville County. Greenville County Detention Center.
Yes. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your childhood and how you got into addiction.
Well, I had a good life. I was adopted into a wonderful family when I was a baby, and good life. Like, I went to prep school. I had a sister. I was not around drugs at all. I cheered, played sports, but I always had that rejection, abandonment, didn't know who I was type feeling always within. And I ended up going to the high school, and that was when I got introduced to the weed and the partying and the boys, and it started with smoking weed, and then I was just rebelling against my parents. I went to rehab, my first rehab, right out of high school. It was 2015, and I had just had my son, and I was hooked on cocaine. And I went to rehab only because my parents told me I had to. But I got out of rehab, graduated the program, and then met a man and was back on drugs within 3 months. And then after that, I spiraled going to rehabs and then got hooked on pills. And then from pills, heroin, meth, and fentanyl. I did 5 years in prison, and then I got out of prison and went right back to heroin, meth, and fentanyl. And it led me to doing things I never thought I could do. I still had the support from my family, but they had backed away. And they had took my son and were raising him. So that's just, and then I called Jennifer at Greenville County after I was still on parole, but I had called an additional charge and was back in Greenville County looking at more time.
Okay. So Makayla, what would you say, when would you say your spiritual awakening started happening at Alabaster House?
So, like 2 months into the program, I got indicted on 2 counts of distribution of meth and had to go turn myself in. And I guess going back to jail and like Jennifer taking me and sitting there for hours or whatever, and then coming out after the judge let me sign a $50,000 PR bond. And he said that, like, that had never been done in Pickens County history or whatever. And then coming out of there and seeing Jennifer sitting in the same place, doing the same exact thing, sitting there with her Bible open. When I came out, like, that's when really my eyes were open to seeing, like, God was real. Like, they're not playing. And so I started taking everything serious. I was like, I'm going to do it. Because I didn't want that life anymore.
So you completed the program, and then what other things has God blessed you with since you've been here? You're now the house mom, so what other kind of things do you have going for you?
I got my license, which is the first time I've ever had one. I have a car. I have a relationship with my kids. My kids are adopted by my aunt and uncle, all three of them. So I get to go up there every month and spend the weekend with them. I just started college, got my GED.
So, do you get to give back to the women here?
Yes, every day. It's great.
Yes. Tell us about, you got indicted, got the $50,000 bond, but so after you had been here 2 years, you went to court for these charges. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the court.
Okay, so when I finally went to court and actually seen the judge, I was looking at, they could have gave me 30 years, but the state wanted to give me 10. And I don't know, I got 5 years suspended to 5 months house arrest. Mm-hmm.
How many people came to court and stood up with you?
4, 5?
Yeah.
5 people.
It was a pretty scary day, but God prevailed. Okay, Meredith, so what would you say during Alabaster, when was your spiritual awakening? When did things start to change for you?
Well, my eyes were open the day that I was sitting at the table with one of the teachers, Miss Becky, and I really thought I knew everything because I had been through other programs before. So I knew the steps. I was just going through the motions, and she sat there and told me to write all the steps. Everybody had to write the steps out. So I wrote the steps out, and within 5 minutes handed it back to her. And she said, no, write the scripture for the steps. And at that point is really when I realized that I didn't know what I was doing, that I had to have God, and I actually read the scriptures for the first time. And that's when my eyes were open, that that's what was going to keep me sober.
So you knew the steps, but you had to learn the part with Jesus, and you had to intertwine the two.
Somehow.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some great things that's happened for you since being at Alabaster, some of your experience there and then after? Because you have how long sober now?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah, and when did you graduate?
I graduated, oh Lord, how many, it's been 2 years ago. So
August 22?
I guess it was, yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So I got new teeth when I was at the Alabaster House. And
you did too.
That's something huge for women because, like, okay, so during your drug addiction, you don't take care of your teeth, obviously. And it takes a lot of confidence away from you. Mm-hmm. And you already don't like yourself. I mean, I had, through the years of addiction, I convinced myself I was a failure. I just kind of slid in where I could fit in, and I wanted to be accepted by whoever would accept me. And getting new teeth, and it was like becoming a new person again. It changed. You didn't feel judged anymore. Like, you could smile, and nobody's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, look at her teeth." You know what she's been doing, you know. So definitely the teeth part. That was huge, and just
shout out to Mr. Peter.
Yeah, we love you. I definitely love you. No, but I have a relationship with my son. It took time because he's older. He's 18, but I definitely am building a relationship with him because he went through a lot with my drug addiction. But I'm there for my parents. They trust me to be able to come in and be able to help them with things, and medical, whatever it might be. And I have my own house. I have a job. I have a car. I have.
You got something big. You got a big divorce, didn't you?
I did get divorced right after. I was married for 15 years, but it was definitely toxic. Like, it was toxic. It was violent, abusive, and just all surrounded around drugs. And so the divorce was huge. Like, because I really didn't think
You struggled with that.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be able to do life by myself. I was very codependent. I didn't know what I was going to do. But then the divorce is final, and it's been very good.
You have a sweet boyfriend who loves Jesus.
I do. God, I definitely
See marriage in the future.
Yes, definitely so. And, you know, you pray for a godly man, and, you know, he will come. But it was also not in my time. It was in his time.
Because
friends first.
You struggled with that for a while, being alone. And I think once you finally got to the place of being okay with being alone, it was like, yeah.
The moment I was content with myself and where I was at, it was like he just fell in my lap.
Right. So if there's anything that you could give advice to somebody who might see this, what would you tell them who may be still struggling?
That recovery is possible. There's so much more to life than living in misery. Because I didn't believe it. So that's part of the reason why I never got help. Just call. We'll be here to love you and support you.
What about you?
It doesn't matter where you've been or what you've done or how many rehabs you've been to or whatever it might be. You've never gone too far. So you can always reach out and call, and trust me, we'll love you because we were you. Favorite little saying, we are all fives. So
we're all fives.
We sat in these seats. We came in. We were the bottom of the barrel, but you don't have to be anymore. So give us a call.
Yeah, that's good. I was going to say that. We're all fives. That's good.